Welcome back to my channel. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. It's great to have you here. Every journey begins with a first step, and learning English is no different. That first step may feel small, it may even feel uncertain, but it is the most important step you will ever take. No one climbs a mountain in a single leap. No one builds a life or a future by standing still. Progress comes one step at a time, one decision at a time, and for you today, the step is choosing to learn, choosing to grow, choosing to open your heart and mind to a language that can carry you into places you've only dreamed of. I want you to think about that first step. When a child takes their very first step, the whole room stops. Parents lean forward, eyes wide, hearts pounding, because they know something historic is happening. That wobbly little step changes everything. The child may stumble, the child may fall, but no one remembers the fall. They remember the step, and from that one step comes another, and then another, until the child is walking, then running, then exploring the world. Learning English is the same. You may stumble in pronunciation. You may fall short in grammar. You may hesitate when words don't come. But the miracle is not in being perfect. The miracle is in stepping forward anyway. Every one of us has faced a moment when we had to take that first step into something unknown. Maybe it was a new job. Maybe it was moving to a new place. Maybe it was a new friendship or the beginning of a dream that felt too big to carry. And in that moment, you didn't have all the answers. You didn't know how it would all work out. But you stepped forward, and looking back, you can see how that first decision changed everything. That's what English can do for you. It may start with one word, one phrase, one small story, but that beginning carries the power to change your future. There are those who will tell you that it's too late, that learning a new language is too hard, that you don't have the gift for it. But I want to remind you that those voices are wrong. The only voice you need to listen to is the one inside of you that whispers, "Take the step." Because greatness does not come from sitting on the sidelines. Growth does not come from waiting for the perfect time. The time is now. The step is here. And all you need is the courage to take it. Think about London. The arrival there is not just an arrival in a city. It's the beginning of a whole new chapter. The streets, the voices, the culture, the opportunities, all of it is waiting, but only for those who are willing to walk through the door. And that door is opened by a single step of learning, by daring to practice, by listening with an open heart and an open mind. Don't wait for the day when you feel ready. Don't wait for the moment when everything seems easy. If you wait for perfect conditions, you will wait forever. The journey begins the moment you decide to begin. And yes, the road will challenge you. You may face days when the words feel heavy on your tongue, when sentences don't come, when progress seems slow. But every step, no matter how small, carries you forward. Just like a traveler stepping onto a plane, knowing they will not reach their destination in one stride, but trusting that the journey will carry them, you too can trust that each lesson, each attempt, each story is carrying you closer to the place you long to be. So let me tell you this, the step you take today may feel small, but it is eternal in its impact. It is a seed planted that will grow into confidence, into understanding, into opportunity. And once you take that step, don't look back with fear. Look forward with faith. Because every journey begins with a first step, and learning English is no different. A story is not just words. It is a doorway into understanding and connection. Words on a page or spoken aloud may seem simple, but they hold a power far greater than themselves. A story can reach across oceans, across cultures, across time itself, and touch the heart of a stranger. That is because a story does not live only in grammar or vocabulary. It lives in the human spirit. When you hear a story, you are not just learning sounds or sentences. You are stepping into another world, and that world can teach you things no textbook ever could. Think about the stories you first heard as a child. Maybe they were simple tales your parents told, or maybe they were stories you listened to while gathered with friends. Those stories didn't just entertain you, they shaped you. They gave you lessons, they gave you hope, they gave you courage. They reminded you that life has meaning, and as you listened, you felt connected, not just to the storyteller, but to something greater than yourself. That is the power of a story. When you learn English through a story, you are not just memorizing words. You are entering into that same experience. You are hearing voices from another land, another people, another way of life, and yet discovering that the human heart beats the same no matter where we are. The laughter, the tears, the struggles, the victories, they belong to all of us. And as you listen, the words begin to breathe, and the language is no longer foreign. It becomes familiar, alive, close to you. Some people say learning a language is only about rules, about verbs and nouns, about spelling and structure. Those things are useful, yes, but they are not the heart of learning. The heart is in the story. Because a story makes the rules meaningful, a story turns a word into a memory, a phrase into a picture, a sentence into a bridge, and suddenly you are not just studying, you are living the language. I want you to see how a story connects people who would otherwise never meet. Imagine a traveler arriving in London for the first time. They step off the plane, unsure of the voices around them, uncertain of how to ask for directions, feeling the weight of being a stranger. But then someone shares a story, a kind word, a simple phrase, maybe even a memory of their own first arrival. In that moment, connection is made. The traveler is no longer alone. That's what stories do. They break down walls, they dissolve fear, they create belonging. And isn't that what you want in your learning journey? Not just to pass an exam, not just to memorize lines, but to belong, to sit in a room and understand, to hear a friend and respond, to be part of the laughter, the conversation, the shared life. Stories open that door. They give you more than knowledge. They give you relationship. And language at its core is not about rules. It is about relationship. When you listen to a story in English, don't just hear the words. Hear the heartbeat behind them. Feel the emotions that rise and fall. Notice how the voice slows in sadness, rises in excitement, softens in tenderness. That rhythm, that music, is the true language. If you can catch it, you will find yourself not just speaking English, but speaking to hearts. Do not be afraid if at first the story feels too fast, or if some words slip past you. Remember, even as a child, you did not understand every word your parents said, yet you understood their love, their meaning, their presence. In the same way, keep listening. Let the story wash over you, let it live inside you, and soon those words that once felt foreign will feel like old friends. A story is not just words. It is a doorway into understanding and connection. And if you walk through that doorway with courage and with hope, you will find yourself not only learning a language, but discovering a world. Arrival in London is more than travel. It's a symbol of stepping into new possibilities. When a traveler lands in that great city for the very first time, it is not just a matter of geography. It is not only about a new airport, new streets, or new buildings. No, it is something far deeper than that. It is the feeling of walking into a place where dreams seem within reach, where opportunities stand waiting, where the past meets the future, and where the next chapter of life begins. London is not simply a destination on a map. It is a doorway into a wider world. Think for a moment about what it means to arrive in a place so rich in history, so alive with culture, so full of voices from every corner of the earth. The moment you step off the plane, you hear accents that sound different from your own. You see faces that reflect nations far and near. You feel the heartbeat of a city that never stops moving. That is not just travel, that is possibility. That is the reminder that the world is larger than our fears, larger than our doubts, and waiting for us to take our place within it. When we talk about learning English through the story of arrival in London, we are not only learning vocabulary. We are learning courage, because to arrive in a new place takes courage. To step off the plane with only your suitcase and your hope is to declare, "I am ready for more. I am ready for what is ahead." And that is exactly what learning a language is all about. It is about believing that you can walk into something greater than what you have known, that you can stretch beyond your comfort, that you can rise to meet the challenge. There is something powerful about a beginning. A beginning carries with it a kind of hope that cannot be measured. A traveler arriving in London may not know what lies ahead. There may be struggles, there may be obstacles, but there is also the excitement of possibility. The streets are unfamiliar, the voices are new, but the air itself seems to whisper, your story is unfolding. And in that same way, every lesson you learn, every word you speak, is an arrival. Each time you dare to use English in conversation, you are stepping into a new possibility. Some may say, it's only a trip, it's only a language, it's nothing special. But those who have walked through such moments know the truth. There is nothing ordinary about standing in a place you once only dreamed of. There is nothing ordinary about learning to express yourself in a language that once seemed distant and unreachable. No, it is extraordinary. It is a victory. It is proof that faith and effort can bring us farther than we ever imagined. Imagine standing by the River Thames for the first time, looking out at the Tower Bridge, hearing the chime of Big Ben in the distance. You realize that you are no longer just reading about these things in a book. You are here. You are living it. That moment changes you. It tells you that life holds more than you expected. It tells you that the future is open wide, and learning English is very much the same. It brings you into experiences you once thought were for others. It gives you access. It gives you belonging. It gives you the ability to stand tall and say, I am part of this world too. Every arrival marks a turning point. It is a leaving behind of the old and a stepping into the new. To arrive in London is not simply to move across miles, but to cross into a chapter where greater things are possible. And the same is true for every step you take in this journey of language. Each new word, each new phrase, each new story is a crossing. It takes you from the familiar into the unknown, from hesitation into confidence, from limitation into freedom. So when you hear the words arrival in London, don't only think of a city. Think of your own arrival into a new way of living, a new way of connecting, a new way of believing in what is possible for you. Because arrival in London is more than travel. It's a symbol of stepping into new possibilities. When you listen with your heart as well as your ears, the language becomes alive. Too often we think of listening as something mechanical, something we do only with the surface of our senses. We hear the sounds, we catch the words, we register the sentences, and we think that is enough. But real listening is more than that. Real listening is when you lean in with your whole being, when you open not only your ears but your heart, and in that moment the words stop being flat sounds and become living truth. Think about the times in your life when someone really listened to you. They didn't just hear the noise of your voice. They felt the weight of your words. They understood the emotion beneath what you were saying. You walked away from that conversation not just heard but valued, not just noticed but known. That is the difference between hearing with the ears and listening with the heart. And the same truth applies when you are learning English. If you only hear the sounds, you may catch a fragment of meaning, but if you listen with your heart, you begin to feel the rhythm, the emotion, the life in the language. A language is more than vocabulary and grammar. It is spirit, it is culture, it is the heartbeat of a people. You cannot learn that by memorization alone. You learn it by listening deeply, by letting the stories, the voices, the emotions flow into you. When a speaker tells a story of hope, don't just catch the words. Let yourself feel the hope. When someone speaks of loss, don't only hear the sentences. Sense the pain behind them. When you listen this way, English ceases to be a puzzle of words and becomes an experience of life. You see, many learners of English become frustrated because they treat it like a code to be cracked. They hear a word, they translate it in their mind, they try to piece it together, and in that process, the music of the language is lost. But when you listen with your heart, something different happens. You begin to sense meaning even when you don't understand every word. You start to grasp ideas, emotions, and connections that go beyond the dictionary. It is like listening to a piece of music. You may not know the technical terms for each note, but you feel the song. And feeling the song is what makes it real. Let me tell you, the world is full of voices. Some speak clearly, some softly, some with accents that are heavy, some with phrases that are new. If you rely only on your ears, you may become overwhelmed. But if you open your heart, you will find that every voice carries a story, and every story can teach you. The language becomes alive because it is no longer just sound. It is relationship, and relationship always lives in the heart. Think about arriving in a new city like London. The voices around you may at first sound fast, confusing, hard to follow. But if you listen with your heart, you begin to catch more than words. You notice the warmth in the shopkeeper's tone, the patience in a teacher's explanation, the laughter of friends in a cafe. Those things are not taught in grammar books, but they are the true essence of language. They are what make you feel included, connected, and alive. Do not be discouraged if you don't understand everything the first time. Even children learning their mother tongue do not understand every word. They listen with their hearts first. They sense the love of their parents, the joy in laughter, the firmness in correction, the comfort in a gentle word. Long before they know all the vocabulary, they already know the meaning. And you, too, can learn this way. If you let your heart listen, the words will soon follow. When you listen only with your ears, English can seem like a wall. But when you listen with your heart, that wall turns into a window. You begin to see through it, to see people, to see lives, to see stories. And that window opens into connection, into belonging, into understanding. That is when language is no longer a burden, but a gift, no longer something foreign, but something alive. When you listen with your heart as well as your ears, the language becomes alive. Every mistake in learning is a stepping stone toward confidence and clarity. So many people begin their journey with fear. Fear of saying the wrong word, fear of mispronouncing, fear of looking foolish. And because of that fear, they stay silent. They never try. But let me tell you this, silence will not teach you. Fear will not guide you. Only stepping out, only trying, only daring to make mistakes will lead you forward. Every error you make is not a failure. It is proof that you are moving, proof that you are learning, proof that you are alive on the journey. Think about a child learning to walk. They stumble, they fall, they bump their knees. If falling meant failure, none of us would ever have learned to walk. But every fall was part of the process. Every bruise was part of the story. Every attempt was another step closer to standing strong. And today, you don't think twice about walking. You just do it. The same is true with English. The words that feel heavy now will one day flow naturally, but only if you are willing to stumble a little as you practice. Do not despise small mistakes. Do not be ashamed of broken sentences or misused words. They are not signs that you cannot learn. They are signs that you are learning. They are evidence that you are trying, and trying is the only path to mastery. Every great speaker you admire once struggled. Every fluent voice once trembled. Every confident communicator once stood where you stand, uncertain, hesitant, afraid of making mistakes. But they pressed on, and step by step, mistake by mistake, they grew. I want you to remember something powerful. Mistakes are not the end of the road. They are markers along the way. Each one teaches you something. Each one brings you closer to clarity. Each one shapes your understanding. The person who never makes mistakes is the person who never tries, and the person who never tries is the one who never grows. So count your mistakes not as losses but as victories, because they mean you had the courage to step forward when others stayed still. When you arrive in a new place like London, you will quickly see how important this truth is. You may ask for directions and use the wrong word. You may order food and mispronounce the name of a dish. You may stumble through a conversation and feel embarrassed, but you will also notice something else. People will understand you anyway. They may smile, they may gently correct you, but more often than not, they will appreciate your effort. And in that moment, you realize that the mistake did not close the door, it opened it. It gave you a chance to learn, a chance to connect, a chance to grow. Too many learners stop because of shame. They think, I can't speak perfectly, so I won't speak at all. But perfection is not the goal. Progress is. Fluency is not built in a single day. It is built in thousands of attempts, thousands of little corrections, thousands of small steps forward. Confidence is not the absence of mistakes. It is the result of walking through mistakes and discovering that they cannot stop you. Let me remind you, a diamond does not shine without pressure. Gold is not pure until it has been refined by fire. And a learner is not confident until they have walked through mistakes and found strength on the other side. Do not fear the fire. Do not run from the struggle. Embrace it, because it is making you into something stronger, something clearer, something unshakable. The day will come when you will look back at the words you once struggled to pronounce, the sentences you once stumbled to form, and you will smile. You will see how far you have come. You will see that the mistakes you once feared were the very steps that carried you here. And you will be thankful for every one of them. Every mistake in learning is a stepping stone toward confidence and clarity. English opens doors, but your courage to learn is the true key. You see, language by itself is full of opportunity. It can take you into classrooms, into jobs, into friendships, into places you never thought you would stand. It is like standing in front of 1,000 doors, each one leading to something new. But here is the truth. Those doors will never open unless you find the courage within yourself to turn the key. Knowledge may be the lock, but courage is what unlocks it. Without courage, you remain standing in the hallway, staring at possibilities you never step into. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward in spite of fear. Courage is opening your mouth to speak even when you are not sure if the words will come out right. Courage is raising your hand in class even when you're afraid of being wrong. Courage is walking into a room where no one speaks your language and daring to say, I will try. That is the courage that turns learning into living. Think of the traveler arriving in London, standing in front of a crowd, surrounded by voices, accents, conversations rushing past. They may have studied English for years, but if fear holds them back, the words stay locked inside. It is not the knowledge that keeps them from stepping forward. It is the lack of courage. And the moment they find that courage, the moment they dare to ask, to speak, to listen, to try, the world begins to open. They discover that people respond with patience, with kindness, with understanding. And suddenly, what seemed like a wall turns into a doorway. English itself is powerful, but it is not magic. It does not leap from the page into your life. It must be carried by your willingness, your determination, your boldness. There are countless people who study books, memorize lists, rehearse phrases, yet never step into real conversations because fear has them bound. They wait for the day when they feel fully ready, when they believe mistakes will never come, when they think confidence will appear on its own. But that day never arrives. Confidence does not come before courage. Confidence is born out of courage. It is born in the trying, the stumbling, the speaking, the living of the language. I want you to picture a key in your hand. That key is your courage. Every time you use it, another door opens. Maybe it is the door to understanding a teacher. Maybe it is the door to making a friend. Maybe it is the door to a new job or a better future. But none of those doors will swing open until you use the key. And every time you choose courage, the world becomes wider, brighter, richer. Yes, English will give you access. It will put tools in your hand. It will place you at the threshold of opportunity. But courage is what moves you across that threshold. Without it, opportunity remains out of reach. And you will find, as you walk this journey, that courage grows with each step. The more you try, the stronger you become. The more you speak, the clearer your voice. The more you risk, the more you gain. Courage is like a muscle. It strengthens only when you use it. So don't wait for courage to come to you. Choose it. Take it in your hand and act. Open your mouth even when your voice shakes. Ask the question even when you doubt your grammar. Share your story even when the words feel broken. Because in the end, people do not connect to perfect sentences. They connect to honesty, to effort, to heart. And those who are brave enough to try discover that English is not just a language to be studied. It is a living bridge to people, to places, to dreams. English opens doors, but your courage to learn is the true key. Thank you for walking this journey with me today. Remember, every step, every story, every mistake is shaping your future. Keep listening with your heart. Keep stepping into new possibilities, and let courage be your key. If this message encouraged you, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs it. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep growing together on this path of learning.